Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Source Friday, the show where we talk to maintainers about the apps that they're maintaining. I'm Kadesha. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We have an exciting show for you. We're talking to Mishka from the Serena MCP server, and I hope I pronounced your name properly. So we have a really good show packed for you today. So I'm just going to pop him on and we'll dig right into it. Oh,
Hi, good evening.
there we go. Hello. How are you?
Good to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm
Yes,
good.
of
How are
course.
you?
Welcome. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have a like a 1 second lag. So I'm gonna say something and then I'm gonna wait, and then hopefully that will help with the little delay that we are having here. But welcome to the stream. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here. Right, my name is Misha. I'm a software developer and AI researcher engineer. And I've been in this field for like 8 years. And before that, I did theoretical physics. And
Wow.
yeah, a year and a half ago, I co-founded Aureus AI with my partner, Dominic. So it's still just the two of us. We've been working on customer projects, but also we had some time last year, and then we did a bunch of open source projects, and one of them is Serena, which is what we're going to talk about today. And this year we are really focusing more on Serena and on other kinds of product things. So I'm actually today is 1 year since we released Serena, and today we finally 1.0, just a few. So I'm very happy that I talk about it on the stream today. It's really a good coincidence.
Yeah, I did notice that it's exactly a year after the initial release. So what does hitting V 1.0 mean to you, and what's different from now versus the early prototype?
Yeah, so I would say we're sort of perfectionist. We have this more or less old style view to software, which means until now, I would say release Serena was viewed as not fully stable. And now there might be some minor changes. The function release efficiently configured in the core features of product, or sorry, or of the repository. It's not a open source, and of full features that we've been working on for a long time, and we were testing them in the last.
Are you still here? Oh, I think we lost him for a little bit there, but he was telling us. So today we're talking to Misha from the Serena MCP project, and it is, oh, there we go. You're back. Welcome back. I think you're muted. We can't hear you.
No.
Ah, there we go. We are back in business.
I'm not sure what's up with this. Hello?
I'm
so sorry. There's a huge delay.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
That's yeah, it's like there seems to be some, like just technical issues, just sometimes that's just how it is.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
I don't know what causes
This is the world. This is how it is. This is how it is. It's okay. So you were saying that, you were talking about what was different from the initial prototype until now, seeing that Serena wasn't very stable, but now you're thinking that it is, and you want to continue from there.
Yeah, exactly. We also just added a lot of new features with this release that we've been working on for the last months, and we've been testing them. We really wanted to make sure that they're bulletproof. So this release really represents a kind of milestone to us, that we have the core functionality, we have really more advanced features, and from now on, there's still going to be extensions, but I really feel like the project has matured a lot.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us more about the purpose of Serena. Like, so tell us like, how did Serena come to be? What problem were you trying to solve, and why did you build it initially?
Yeah. So it started essentially January 2025, so a bit more than a year ago, which is when Sun 3.5 came out and the agentic part of coding started to really kind of take off, started to make sense, because before that, the models were just not intelligent enough and not good enough in tool use. It was also when Cloud Code came out, roughly, but was not yet included in subscriptions. And the only agents one could have access to without paying huge API costs were something like Windsurf and Cursor. And I tested those. So I paid subscriptions for both of them, for Windsurf and for Cursor. And I was extremely disappointed by them, because I actually don't know how they are right now. But at that time, it was clear to me that you can make an agent very easily. You can make a while loop and then some file reading capabilities and some regex replacement, and there you go. There you have a coding agent. And this is roughly what they did. Okay, so so this was the level on which this was, and it just felt very sad, because I would have now to pay some kind of middleman who resells tokens from a model provider, just so that I have access to a while loop and file reading. And I had the idea that we could do this better, that I could do this better. And then I was thinking, what's the best way to interact with code? And it was clear that one would need some kind of reliable code understanding. And since I'm a professional developer, I needed professional code understanding. So some kind of small tricks, let's say some regex stuff or some heuristics or so, or RAG or embeddings, everything that's not 100% precise, would not be acceptable. Because it would be mental, because every small mistake. I think I was gone for a sec.
Yeah, you're back.
But hey, sorry about that. So,
it's fine.
So I needed essentially 100% precision about code navigation and editing, right?
Yeah.
And these tools these paid tools that were not open source, that were available to me, they didn't have that, and they were very blunt. So in my very first version of some kind of code navigation, I wrote a system that parsed code into a graph database and then started navigating the graph database. And that worked, but it was very it was very hard to use, because every time you would change code, it would become out of date. So it was good for analyzing code, but it was very bad for editing and for live development. And then it was clear that I would need some kind of more advanced system to connect to this. And I went to a skiing trip in France, and I talked to a friend of mine, and he said, "Why aren't you using language servers?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea." And it turned out to be a great idea, because language servers provided, I would say, like 70% of the functionality that was needed in terms of code semantics, code understanding. And then we had to write a lot of code to bring it over the last 30% to make it actually usable for an agent. So just a vanilla integration would not work. And And the initial version of Serena was it. So it was an integration of language servers with an contract call, so that you could use it for free. It was also important for us. It was important that you could be able to connect it to any client. And once I did this was before Cloud Code became part of the subscription. So before any kind of coding agent from the major provider was available through the subscription. And it was immediately clear to me that this is really useful, not just for me, but for others. And that's why we open sourced it. And then something funny happened about a few weeks after we made Serena available. Cloud Code became accessible through the subscription. So there were a bunch of projects that were having similar goals. So I had two goals. I wanted to make a toolkit for an agent that is really good, and I wanted to make it free. And then there were a bunch of other projects that just had one goal. They wanted to make it free. So they would give file access, they would give kind of shell access, some kind of code search tools, or maybe like around AskGrep or similar capabilities. But the main idea was really that they would be subscription-based. These one day. The moment Cloud Code became part of the subscription, and later on Codex became part of the subscription, now we have GitHub CLI part of the subscription. These two are obsolete. And that happened to Serena. Serena became extremely popular then, because it was not only solving the task of being free, but it was solving the task of giving really precise advanced tools. And even though it blows my mind, up till today, still nobody has done it. So we are still the only toolkit of this kind that provides advanced code navigation and editing that is 100% precise. And now we have two backends, either the language servers or the JetBrains again that we wrote. And that was like 4 or 5 language support. And by now we support over 40 because so many people in the community contributed into making language support. So really, and while there might be similar capabilities as parts of agents, I actually don't know. Like I am baked in tools of this kind. Since I didn't need to use them since then,
right?
I don't know, but for sure there are no open source ones, and they're usually bundled within some kind of framework. So they're bundled within an IDE, or they bundled within a CLI agent, where Serena can be integrated into anything. So it's completely free and flexible to use with whatever solution the user prefers. Yeah.
Wow, very, very interesting. So Serena works with like all the current AI coding agents on the market, right? Via MCP. So do different LLMs use Serena's tools in meaningfully different ways, or do they all behave similarly, do you think?
Yeah. No, they absolutely don't. So since Serena's tools are fairly advanced, like for example, recently we merged fairly advanced refactoring tools, they can be only used by models that have sufficiently advanced intelligence. So this was also kind of interesting. So Sonnet 3.5, it was barely able to make use of Serena's tools. We had to guide it a lot and prompt it a lot, and even then it would make mistakes. Then the 4.0 variant stopped making these mistakes and started using the more advanced tools. And the newer versions, Codex especially, but also Opus 4.6, they're really good at using these tools. So there was also the separation where previously you would have projects that would provide some kind of basic tools, and they became obsolete because they're no longer needed. Whereas Serena just gains more and more importance because the models are better and better at using these tools. So I suspect this trajectory will continue. As the model intelligence increases, we will create more advanced tools which the models will be able to make use of.
Very interesting. I'm so curious to see.
But you can essentially forget using it with a small.
Yeah, I'm so curious to see how Serena actually works and how we can start using it. No, it's okay. Stop apologizing. It's completely fine. We understand internet woes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So let's take a look at how to use Serena and how it's different or similar to the other tools on the market. So I'm gonna pop your screen on the.
Okay.
Switch your. We have the there we go. All right.
Yeah, you're seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So before the demo, I just want to give a very brief overview of the tools that we have. So in the different backends, there are different tools. Right now, we try to kind of reach more or less feature parity with what is possible with language servers, but it's just generally not possible to make some things with them. So the JetBrains plugin will always be the more powerful solution. So we have retrieval tools where you can find code symbols just by name and reference, and by name and file. You can get an outline, and this is really important. You can get 100% precise references, and not just the lines, but the referencing symbols. And then other kinds of navigation tools or other kinds of retrieval tools. We have refactoring tools. I will show a demo with this. And then we have editing tools, which are much more efficient than a regex-based or a string-based editing, because you just say, I want to replace this symbol and just give a new body without having to also enter an old body. So this is a token-saving thing. And let me show you one chat that I had recently. Also, I'm going to show one demo with Claude and one demo with Codex. So to configure Serena, you enter this into the command into the Codex config, which will use UVX to pull the newest version of the repository, and then just start the MCP server. And I also added a flag to immediately activate the project from my current working directory. So if I now start Codex, and let me do it in the YOLO mode. Script this. So now it starts the agent, and it also starts the MCP server. So we will see actually that it starts because Serena has a dashboard. Let's just see what it does. Sometimes it's a bit slow. Okay. It seems like it did start up. I'm a little bit unsure now. Yeah.
So before we go any further, what was the command you used to install Serena?
It's just a UVX start command. So
this UVX right here. Okay.
Yeah. So,
and is that the only way to install Serena?
Sorry, that's wrong. No, you can install it as anything. I mean, you can download the repository. You can install it as a UV tool. This is a recommended way, because this way you get the updates from our master branch. But you can install it any way you want. It's just a standard way to install Python MCP servers through UVX and just referencing the repository. You can also install it from PyPI, but then we kind of rarely release there, because most people prefer just to pull the newest commits.
Okay.
We have a whole documentation on the various ways of running it and installing it and connecting it to different clients.
Awesome.
So, okay. So now hopefully it tells me that Serena's tools are available. So for example, let's just make a quick check. Find Serena agent. And sometimes I have to tell Codex to use the tools, but usually this is just to make sure it will actually use symbol tool. Okay, so since the toolkit is fairly advanced, we ask the agent to call initial instructions, which it has now, which just explains the access to our tooling. And you see that we are using Serena now in the JetBrains mode, just because I configured it for myself this way. You could use it in the language server mode as well. So for what I'm showing you, it will be the same. Okay. All right. So now multiple things happened. So first of all, Codex initialized a session here. And I configured Serena this way that we start the dashboard every time we start a session. Most users don't do this. I did it now just for the demo. So usually you can just open the dashboard when you're interested in it. Why did you write a dashboard for an MCP server? Well, again, Serena is quite an advanced solution, so you would want to know what it's doing. It's very useful to know what it's doing. So here you can see which tools were called so far in this session. You can see what the active project is. You see the active tools. And just in order to have a fair comparison, I disabled all our memories feature. So if I compare Codex with Serena to the Codex without Serena, it is really just the tools and no additional information. And in the log section, you just see absolutely everything that's happening, including the inputs. So this is quite useful to just see, just to know what's going on.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And actually, it was probably, yeah, so exactly, called initial instructions and then find symbol. And let's have a look at what find symbol gave you. So look, it gave you just what you asked for. So since I asked it just to look for the symbol, it didn't include the body. It just told you here's a symbol. So for example, if I asked it to look at the methods of a Serena agent, then it will call the same tool, find symbol, but with steps 1. So it will get an overview over the methods. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now already it's impossible without Serena. If I didn't have Serena activated, it would have to read the entire file, and it would actually fail in doing because the entire file is too long, and it would have to read the entire file in multiple chunks just to get an overview of what Serena agent can do. So already just this one single tool, it's already a kind of game changer, because you can get extremely efficient, token efficient, and very, very fast information. So if I were to ask it for a file overview, get an overview of the file that contains Serena agent, it is able to call the tool get file overview, which it asks for depth 1, so it will see the classes that are there and the methods of those classes grouped and in a very efficient way. Okay. So it would see the same thing that a programmer would see if the programmer went to the class. Here.
Hello?
1,000 line Python module. And your agent shouldn't be forced to do that either. So if I were to ask it now, let's say, I don't know, let me choose some method of this agent that is used quite often. For example, I don't know, let's say set modes. So if I were to do a regex search for set modes, I will probably have a bunch of different definitions, def set modes. I mean, maybe not for this particular method, but for many other methods. So a regex search for a method will very often lead you to wrong results. Whereas an IDE search, find usages, finds you exactly the only results that there are. So I could do now the same, asking the agent to do this. I can ask, find the references to the set modes method of Serena agent. I'm showing some tasks in isolation. Later, I'm going to show a more like a more holistic approach. And you saw immediately, like it calls the tool, and the model needs to be smart enough to understand how to use those tools, how to construct what we call the reference, what we call the name pass here, and gets a very, very concise, clear answer of where the files are and what kind of symbols uses. So you get the functions where this is used, not just a line.
Incredible.
And, really
and it's so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fast because it uses the it just uses the correct methodology for it, which on the language server side would be a running language service, and right now on the JetBrains side it's my running IDE. So essentially, it does exactly the same thing that I would do. We just call this method find usages. So we're tapping in really, really mature technology that has been developed over decades, which is the symbolic understanding of an IDE. Yeah, LSP or an IDE. Both of these are very, very mature technologies, and the agents desperately needed access to them. And to the best of my knowledge, Serena is really the only thing that gives holistic access to these. So I want to show you a demo that I prepared today. I just won't run it live because it takes minutes to do this. So I did the same prompt one time in Codex. This is a Codex app. I did it one time with Serena and one time without Serena. So I asked, what are the most important methods in the Serena agent class? How are they used and tested in the code base? So Serena itself, it's a complicated project, so this will be a large answer. And now you will be able, I think it doesn't show it anymore, but with Serena, it used half the tokens and half the time to do.
How?
So the same prompt.
How is it possible?
If you were to see what oh, well, just imagine what it has to do without these symbolic tools. So here's the same thing, but I asked it to not use Serena and MCP tools because I shut down the server. And look what a poor, I can't believe it. It deleted this. It deleted the tool calls. Well, I guess then let me run it one more time, and then you will see. I could just run it here. No.
Yeah, run it, and then we have a question about how to enable Serena in JetBrains. How do we connect Serena to JetBrains?
Yeah, I can show you this. So this is actually trivial. So we publish a plugin. So you just download the plugin. You can see it now running here. So the plugin also logs all the tool calls, right? So this is a backend. And all you have to do is to configure in your config that you want to use the JetBrains plugin. This is just a YAML. You can also edit it on your PC. We just also made a button so you can configure it from the dashboard. So here you will see the language backend here. So I configured it to JetBrains. If I now were to set to LSP, it would use LSP.
Got you.
And if I set it to JetBrains, Serena will use JetBrains.
Yeah. So to use Serena in JetBrains, you download the Serena plugin in JetBrains, and then configure your the global Serena config. You update it to say like the language backend. You update it to say JetBrains.
The language backend.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's it.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything else will be the same.
Yeah. So is Serena
Exactly.
just
So
for...
here you see it working.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, so you see it filed a whole lot of symbol and references request. And it's still working. And if I now were to do the same task with Codex, but I were to let me disable the MCP, I don't know whether it's possible dynamically, but just for the fun of it. But I guess let me just delete the whole section. And now I can start Codex here. Sorry, let me run it in YOLO mode.
Yeah.
And I were to ask the same prompt, now it would have, instead of having the precise symbol tools, it would have to read all the files. It would have to read all the files. It would have to grep a lot. It would have to run regex a lot. And you can just imagine how much less efficient it is. Like if you were to look for methods of the code base and you were to look for symbols of the code base, it's so much more efficient to just have symbolic tools that are correct, like here, than having to read chunks of files and have to grep and regex. It's just a very small example where it was twice as fast, but in reality, for many real-world applications, I just can't work without Serena anymore because the difference is so stark with having these tools and not having these tools that I just never want to not have them.
Yeah.
So in my example, it would work for quite some time. That's why I prepared the thing here. Like here, it worked for I think 8 or 9 minutes without Serena, and for 4 minutes with Serena, something like that. You had a question. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me more about the symbolic tools. Break down what that means for us and why it allows Serena to be so performant.
I mean, some things I've already shown, right? So, for example, you already know that you're looking for this kind of method, right? So what would an agent have to do? Let's say this activate project from password name. How would I go about in reading it? I would look for the method here. So I would use a symbolic search of the IDE, activate from project name, and then I would immediately know that, okay, this is what I'm interested in, right? And maybe very first, when I want to understand it, I would just look at the signature. And the next thing I would do is just look at the quick info, right? And then maybe the last thing, if I really care, I would actually look at the code. Now, the symbolic methods allow you to do exactly that. So when you say find symbol, it will find this symbol. It will tell you whether it wants the body or not, or whether it just wants a signature. And if I want to find the references of this, you see here it shows 5 usages, so I can immediately see the lines where it's used. And if I actually look at the usages here, I would see, okay, it's used within the function init, and here it's used within the function apply, and here it's used within tests within this test. Yeah. So all of this is very vital information. Look how I understood a lot of information without having to actually read code or open these files or read chunks of those files. Okay. If you have access to IDE tools, then you can do this. Now imagine I didn't have access to the symbol search, which I just had, right? To this activate project from pass a name. I didn't have access to finding references. I didn't have access to the quick info. Or the signature search. Yeah, so this stuff. Imagine I don't have access to all of this. Imagine I have to work on a complicated project in Microsoft Word. Okay. I could still do the job, but it would just be harder for me. It would be much harder to work on a coding project in Microsoft Word. It's possible, but it's way harder. So this is the difference. If you don't have symbolic tools, it's as if the code was just flat text for you. And you just operate like a programmer would operate in Microsoft Word. If you do have the tools, you can make use of them. And I don't know a single programmer who programs in Microsoft Word. Not a single one.
No.
Every single programmer uses an IDE, and every single agent should also use an IDE. It's just that the tools have to be done in a way that is agent compatible, because this is all GUI tools, because I can just look at the screen and read, whereas the agent can't look at the screen. So, and it also can't, like, imagine the agent knows, okay, the symbol was in this line 825, and then they change, just add a new line, right?
Yeah.
Then immediately this line information, it's outdated. So most tools that you will see still use, and most agents that you see still use this line-based information, which is fragile. It's just not suitable for agents. So in Serena, lines are never used. All of our tools are just based on a really agentic interface, which just references tools by names and by other suitable means. So no matter how much you're editing, the agent will be able to navigate and deal with the code.
Got you.
So here, for example,
that's very interesting, and it's a very smart pattern.
Yeah, thanks. So here you will see the tools that the statistic of the tools that were used by the agent to solve this task. So it used find symbol 41 times. It did a little bit of regex search. It used finding references 11 times, and it used the symbolic overview of files 4 times. So since I just asked a question about just tell me what the code does, they didn't use any editing tools. And so you see that the agent is actually able to use the tools in a very good way.
Yeah. Question for you.
It's probably done by now. Yeah.
So is Serena only for like searching code and like looking at methods, or can you also build with Serena?
Yeah, you can build. Yeah, you can build. So I'm going to, the next thing I will show is editing and refactoring. So maybe one thing to mention, for a very, very long time, and my partner still does this, we use Serena just through Cloud Desktop, which means there were no other tools, just Serena, and it is a full standalone agent. So Serena's tools represent a complete agent toolkit. You can do any task you would want to do just using those tools. Now, most of our users use Serena as an enhancement of an existing agent. They don't use it as a standalone. But you can use it as a standalone thing. In our original vision, before all the agents became cheap, we wanted Serena to be a standalone agent. So it still has this character. But now let me show you something so now I showed you something that would be possible to do without Serena, it just would be much less efficient. So now I would like to show you something that is essentially impossible to do without Serena.
Okay.
Which is a refactoring task. So these are the tools that just went live today. So in order to make it very understandable, I created a demo project, but you can easily imagine it being in a real project. So the task is just simple renaming, and then I want to inline the method, and I want to safely remove that code, so to make sure that there are no references, and finally I want to execute a move. So here are just standalone standard routine tasks. If I were to move in my IDE, like if I were to do this move, then I would move, and my IDE would ask me, okay, do you want to search in comments and strings? And when I click refactor, it would then update all the references. So if I were to look, so this is a task that programmers do 100 times a day, or maybe at least 100 times a week. But an agent would struggle extremely if it doesn't have access to refactoring tools, because it would need to create a new file, delete a file, write new code in that file, update, find all the references, update all the references. Essentially, this kind of refactor in the larger code base for an agent, it is next to impossible. It's extremely expensive and will usually be wrong. So now Serena has access to not only to the navigation tools, but also to refactoring tools. In order to show you that it works with different agents, not just with Codex, I will now use Claude Code. So, I ran first, I ran this command to add Serena to Claude Code, which is the same thing as for Codex. And I think I already have it, but so we'll see. So let me use Claude with injuriously bypass permissions, so we don't have to ask on every tool. And we're going to also look at the MCP server. Serena is disabled. So, okay, so for the fun of it, since Serena is disabled, let's start one session where I'm using this task, but without Serena's tools. So let's see what Claude will do, just so you have a comparison.
Hello.
Okay, so look what this poor guy has to do.
1 second, I think there's the screen isn't popped up yet.
It has to use basic search and bash tools in order to rename something and move something. This will actually take some time. So it first has to still is collecting information. Yeah. Are you still there? Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, you're back, yeah. Okay, so what's
Hello?
Claude doing that Serena that makes it different from Serena?
So look, so it read 15 files completely. Now it is using editing operation on every single file. It's using bash to remove the files. It has to update all the references. Just imagine how unsafe this is in an actual larger code base, where changing the name or moving a file affects hundreds or even thousands of files sometimes. Claude would have to manually edit every single one of them. Okay, it's still not done. It's still working. 2 minutes in, it's still working because it still has to adjust the imports. And this is just a tiny, tiny repository. Okay, so now 2 minutes later, it is done. And if I look at how many tokens it has used, so we have used 8,000 tokens on messages.
Yeah.
For this tiny, tiny task.
Yeah.
Okay. And probably got it right.
And for Serena,
got it right. Oh, sorry, it would be almost impossible to get it right. Okay, so let me roll it back, and I'll do the same thing with Serena. Okay, so now let me. Again, call Claude. Server. So now it will fire it up.
Okay. Okay.
It will take 1 second, I guess. Let's see how far it's going. It's connecting.
It's connecting.
Yeah, okay. Connected.
Connected.
Wonderful, yeah. Now it's connected. So it's good. Same thing. Now we'll ask it also to address the same task.
Okay.
Okay. Address task and team. And let's see what it will do. So we will have the dashboard to see what it's doing.
So while it's running, would you say that, because you mentioned that, you know, a lot of your users currently use Serena as an additional tool to their coding agents, right? So would you say that you want Serena to be complementary to those tools, or do you plan for it to be a competitor to those tools?
No, I want it to be complementary. I'm not interested in presenting this basic functionality. For example, Claude Code has a very good bash tool. Codex has a very good regex search tool. I'm not interested in providing these basic things that are also needed for agents. Serena, for example, has a memory system, which I personally like, but we built it because initially these agents didn't have good memory systems. And I'm not particularly interested in further developing it. So it's definitely complementary. It brings in this advanced tooling. So it's already done with the task. You see, like it already renamed and moved things around. Now it's just verifying that everything is fine. And you see that the tool set it called here. So it called an inline symbol, rename, save, delete. I also asked it to move something. Well, that's interesting. So now it was too dumb to use a move tool. That's rare. Okay. So it used the 3 tools, but then Claude failed on using the move tool in order to move it and had to do the task itself. Still, you see it was substantially faster. And most importantly, it was safe. Like all of these operations, inline, rename, and save, delete, they are 100% guaranteed to be correct and update all the references. It's actually a shame that it didn't use the move tool. Let me, just for the fun of it, move it back and just to show how the tool would work. Move tool to move parcel to the legacy package. Codex has no problems with this, but Claude sometimes, especially with a 1 million, it's really too dumb. Unbelievable. Yeah, it sometimes happens. Oh no.
Okay.
Now it used the move. Very good. Okay. So you saw this? It very quickly flickered up. So it used the IDE tool to move everything. Yeah. So these tools are definitely complementary. Yeah, I have no interest. You know, recently the Claude code base was leaked and has something like 500,000 lines of code. And most of these are not related to tooling, but to other stuff, to like session management, to terminal experience, to memories, to user management, subscription management, and so on. So Serena is just a toolbox that's complementary. It's just good to know that if you want to build your agent just for yourself, you basically don't need any other tools. And the absolute majority of our users uses it complementary. They use it within Claude Code or within GitHub CLI or within Codex or within any kind of agent that they want.
Yeah. Okay, so if we use VS Code, are we able to? Is there a VS Code plugin, or if is there one on the roadmap?
Yeah. So first of all, you can use VS Code and you can use language server backend, and then the VS Code agents they also have MCP integration. So many of our users use Serena just directly within VS Code with a language server plugin. What you can also do, and that's several users do that, is just to use the JetBrains IDE in the background and actually use VS Code as their primary IDE. So even if if you want these advanced tools, which like move and rename, which are only available, and inline and safe delete and so, which are only available through JetBrains plugin, you can still use them as VS Code. You just need to have also JetBrains IDE open in the background, because you will be using Serena within your agent. The fact that I used it now in the integrated terminal, it's irrelevant. As you saw before, I used it in Codex, and I could have used it in VS Code.
So essentially,
so this was also
any
using
tool,
JetBrains tools.
Yeah, so essentially any tool that supports MCP, you're able to use Serena. So you just add Serena MCP server,
Exactly.
And then you're able to go ahead and use Serena in whatever tool you're using. This is perfect because I personally, I like using Copilot CLI. So I'm able to add the Serena MCP server to Copilot CLI and go forth and use Serena there. And so if you want to use, I see Martin saying that it would be helpful to show how to get started with Serena. So Martin, if you go to Serena's GitHub repository, it definitely shows you how to get started with it. You install it with, you can install it with UV, you can add it as an MCP server, and you install the JetBrains plugin. And once you install the JetBrains plugin, then you go ahead and update your configuration settings on the Serena dashboard, and then you go forth and use Serena. We did cover that. When we're finished, I would encourage you to go back to the middle part of the stream, and then you can see that we talked about that a bit. But essentially, if a coding platform, or like if an IDE supports MCP, you can use Serena with the platform. So that's pretty incredible. Anything else you want to share with folks here before we wrap up?
Yeah, so I have shown this demo with the JetBrains plugin because I wanted to show these refactoring tools, but you don't need to. So if you just use the LSP plugin, then it supports 40 languages. This should be enough for essentially everybody. And for the majority of these languages, this is plug and play. So all dependencies will be downloaded on the fly. So then you don't need to have a JetBrains IDE open. You can use it remotely. You can use it on the server. You can use it wherever, because it's extremely lightweight. It will download and start the language servers, and will use them to provide the symbolic tools. And for many VS Code users, this right now is how they use it, because they don't want to download and start a JetBrains IDE.
Yeah, and, like me, I wouldn't want to download and install JetBrains.
You wouldn't want that. So the good news is that we are evaluating whether we can make a VS Code plugin, which will provide the additional features, the same additional features that the JetBrains plugin provides. Because the move and rename functionality that we're using is just not available in language servers, at least in many of them. Also, this kind of stuff like inline methods or even go-to implementation, language servers simply don't provide it. So the way VS Code implements this functionality is not by using language servers, but by using internal VS Code APIs. And you want to see whether we can connect to those APIs to then provide a native VS Code experience similar to the one that I've shown now for JetBrains. And so with a bit of luck, we will get there within the next few months.
Okay. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. So go ahead, folks, and check out Serena. It's very cool, very interesting. I can't wait to dig into it and see how I can use it in my workflow to save my tokens, and also to just, move faster. Because it has some, I don't know how it works so fast and so efficient. I really enjoyed seeing Serena in action, actually.
Yeah. It's because we stand on shoulders of giants. Language servers and JetBrains are just very mature technologies.
Yeah, and I think it was so smart to use the language server protocol rather than building your own semantic analysis layer. Like that would have taken so much research and so much work to do.
Exactly.
So definitely cool here. So as we wrap up, are you looking for contributors? Are you looking for download? Like, what are you looking for from the community here?
Contributors are good, of course. So this growth to 40 programming languages was only possible through contributors because we also made it very easy to contribute a new language server. So we are a company of 2 people right now, and we
Right.
mainly earned our money through consulting. So for a large part, Serena was just worked with it for free. We didn't earn anything. It would be great to have some sponsors. And our only source of income for Serena is the JetBrains plugin, which costs €5 a month. So it's like coffee. So that's one of the best ways, I guess, to help. As I said, with the 1.0 release, we consider the software pretty mature. So contributions are now right now they're not the most important thing. But folks just using it and talking about it, in 1 year, we got to over 22,000 stars, which I think is a good indication that the community likes it. We are consistently listed among the top 10 MCP servers worldwide. But now, as of today, I think there's really no reason that not every single agent should be using Serena. Unless you're only working on a greenfield project and you're only just creating a new app, in which case the tools don't help very much because you're just writing new code all the time. But essentially for every single project, which is even a slightly bit more complex, Serena is going to be a benefit. So I think I will spread the word, start using it. And if you're missing features, let us know. And if you want to spend $5 to get really advanced refactoring tools without which your agent simply can't do the corresponding tasks, then consider doing so.
Yeah. And I would encourage the Serena team to create that VS Code plugin. Because as a VS Code user, and I see Sarah said it as well, like I would just use it in VS Code as an MCP server, and I too would love access to those more advanced features and capabilities to get stuff done more performantly and quickly.
We are working on it. It's just the additional difficulty is that VS Code doesn't have a paid marketplace. So we would also like to have $5 for that, because otherwise we can't work on the project anymore. If you want to see, like, there's a lot of work going into it.
Yes, I see.
We have hundreds of thousands of lines of code. So we will first have to implement a licensing server before we can start selling the VS Code plugin. We will have the same price point. You see, like, the work that goes into this. And that's the reason why we did with JetBrains first, because it already has a marketplace.
Makes
and we
sense.
didn't have to do all the licensing stuff ourselves.
Yeah. Makes sense. Thanks so much for coming on the show today.
With a bit of luck, 2 months.
Yeah. Hopefully people will be so inclined to contribute to your, to sponsor the project. Maybe that's the thing, to encourage VS Code users to sponsor the project, to keep it going, especially if they want the VS Code extension to remain updated. Maybe, that would be some incentive. I don't know. But super cool work here. Very, very interesting approach using the LSP and having Serena have those really advanced capabilities, and also having Serena be an MCP server so it can work with tools that we're currently using, right? We can just add it as a part of our toolkit. I think that's like the best part I like here. Because, as developers, we don't like to change our tools. Once we get used to something, it's like, that's it. Good luck getting me to change. Exactly. So I think that was really smart here.
Cool. I'm glad you like it. That was one of the things you wanted to achieve, because I was forced to use other tools just for the agent, and I absolutely hated the 2 months where I had to do that, and I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Yes, absolutely. The worst thing you can do is force us to do anything, because we will just build it ourselves, and that's it.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Yes. But yeah, thank you so much for being on. Thank you everyone for joining. Go check out Serena at gh.io/Serena. And we will see you next time for Open Source Friday. Bye.
Thank you very much, Kadasha. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.